Is Airbnb dead? Is a question that I get very often. I wanted to address it and put this out there just so those who may be new to the space or be looking to get into the space don't get discouraged by like incorrect information that's circulating out there from people who don't even do this business and try to throw dirt on industries because of what they've heard or what they've heard repeated and regurgitated from a bunch of people who don't actually have any success in the business, right? So one thing I tell people all the time is if you're thinking about getting into a certain business, the best thing to do is ask someone who's actually succeeding in that business what they truly believe about that business. Because anyone who's successful with business will give you the honest truth. Because if they themselves are looking for an exit or they're not seeing the same numbers that they once were, obviously they're going to give you that information, right? They're going to like, hey, I'm doing well, things are going well, but it's not what it used to be or something to look out for or whatever the case is. Because of course, right? Industries change, businesses change, regulations change. Like there are things that get put into place that obviously change industries, change businesses, right? Question now becomes, okay, cool. Where can I make money in this industry? And to answer your question, is Airbnb dead? Not at all, right? Because Airbnb itself is just a small business, a small company within a larger sector, within a larger industry that is growing at a very steady pace right now globally, right? And what I tell people is when you're looking to get into this business, you should not be looking to get into a major market. That's people's number one mistake that I hear all the time, that I see all the time, is they want to come to Miami. They want to come to Houston, Texas. They want to go to Atlanta, Georgia, because the narrow way of thinking, which is naturally how we all think when it comes to certain things, especially business, is, okay, people go to Miami, people go to Atlanta, people go to Houston. So I think an Airbnb there will make me money. And the reality is 30,000 other people have already thought the same thing. You might be able to make money because it really depends on the deal. How much is the rent? Are you owning? Are you doing arbitrage? What are your expenses like, right? Who is your target audience? Is it a good deal or is it not a good deal? Is the rent too high? There's a lot of different things that play into it. But the main thing you have to ask yourself and figure out is, do people only travel to Houston, Miami, or Atlanta? Or do people also go to these small towns or small areas nearby major cities or that no one's even thought about because they have other things there that they may want to do, like camping, going to the lake, going to a retreat, going on a farm, going into the woods, going into the mountains, going to a national park. So many different things. Are they working at the local hospital? Are they looking for relocation from a flood or a hurricane? Or there's so many different things that you can service and tend to in the short-term rental industry that I think they tend to get overlooked. And you don't want to overlook opportunity before it becomes a major thing. What I mean by that is whoever was in Miami before Miami became like, right, where Airbnb, they're making the most money. They probably have the most properties, they have the longest time in the game, and they probably have the best overhead expenses, right? The rent is probably cheap, or if they bought years ago, it's cheap for them. So there's a lot of benefits to getting into markets early. But obviously the major markets are saturated now. And what that means for you is you can go into those markets if you have the right deal, or you can find smaller sub-markets that you can make just as much money. Because the reality is if you can make at least $1,000 a month profit on an annual scale, right? So when you take the whole year and break it all down, if you're making around $1,000 a month in profit per month per unit, that is a very good position to be in. Because think about when you have 10 units, 6 units, 5 units, whatever the case is, that is full-time income that you can generate. So when people say Airbnb is dead, it's not that it's dead. It's just that people are looking in the wrong places and getting a ton of bad deals because they're trying to go rent in major US cities. The problem with that is if you don't have, right, the proper system, if you don't have the proper marketing, if you don't have the proper outreach where you're marketing in different places other than Airbnb, VRBO, Booking.com, like outside of that, it makes it very difficult to rely solely on those platforms. So you have to be able to do a lot more than just that. But when you get into these smaller markets that a lot of people are now moving to, or a lot of people are now traveling to, or there's different things going on that no one's thinking about, but a lot of people do, like the rock climbing or the national parks, whatever the case is. Those are places that you can find really good deals that can make you the same amount of money as a property in Miami or as a property in Houston, Texas, or whatever the case is. So that is something that a lot of people overlook. Reality is Airbnb isn't dead. It's just changed, right? It's changed. It's become something that people know about. So it's more trustworthy, but major cities aren't the best spot to get started in, right? You want to find yourself a nice hidden gem, and that's what we do, right? A lot of our clients, a lot of our students, we find the markets in different states. For example, we're heavily in the Midwest right now, and we have a city and a town that we're working on really going all in with because the growth there starting now. It's ramping up now. In the next 5 to 10 years, that market will be just as big as a Houston or as a Miami or whatever the case may be. So those are the places that we like to look for, and every single state in this country has those little sleeper markets that you can generate the same amount of profit as you would in a Houston or Atlanta without the high rent, without the headaches, right? Because it's consistent in and out as a city, but also with the long-term potential to see success sustainably over a few years, right? And potentially more. That's what's most important. So it's one thing to come in and have one good year with the Airbnb space. It's another thing to be able to come in and have 10 years of success in the Airbnb space, in the short-term rental space. So keep that in mind, because again, we don't want fast money. We want money that lasts. We don't care about fast money. We want it to last, and we want to be able to sustain it and grow. Because if not, it doesn't make sense to even involve ourselves in that operation, right? So Airbnb isn't dead. It's just evolved. And if you can evolve with it and find different markets that are under the radar, that have a ton of upside, and there's a lot of different things you can look at, right? A lot of different numbers and statistics that get put out by these states, by these cities, by these governments in those cities that keep track of all of this stuff. There's a lot of places that are seeing a lot of growth, and there's a lot of opportunity in these places for people like yourself that may be looking to get into Airbnb. And the best part about it is not only do you put yourself in a position to be an innovator in a market and be there before everybody else, but it also puts you in a position to have a higher market share when the time comes. So 3, 4, 5 years from now, if you were in a market before it became hot, in 3, 4, 5 years, you should have 7 to 12 properties in that time frame, right? Potentially more. So you are naturally going to make more money than the next person that has 1 property or 2 properties, right? Because you have more options than they do. So if a person comes in, it's more likely they're going to book one of your properties than someone else that only has 1, because you have 12, right? It's just a game of volume. You also make more money. Now, granted, your overhead is more expensive, but you do make more money per unit, and you're not killing yourself, trying to scratch pennies up from 1 unit, right? Volume, that's the name of the game. So using the first unit, use that to go ahead and invest into the second, and then use that cash flow to then invest into the third, right? Obviously, if you have business credit and things of that nature, it makes this entire process a whole lot easier. But if you don't, and you just have enough money to get a unit up and running, fix your credit, number one, so you can get funding. But in the meantime, with your first unit, make sure that you're stacking the profits so you can get another unit in a few months. Now you have those 2 cash flowing for you, right? Those cash flow for you, even $2,000, $3,000 a month, you're in a very good position, because again, that's hands-free income. So now you start scaling. You start rinsing and repeating the same exact thing over and over until you get to a point where, hey, I'm making enough a month where I can relax, sit back, and stack this money. And then I can go ahead and use that money to go ahead and buy a property, right? Or go and buy land and develop property and use it for Airbnb, or use it to rent it out. Whatever you want to use it for, you can do. So you're using the rentals that you have to generate income, cash flow, right? To then use that cash flow to go ahead and invest, purchase land, purchase property, whatever the case may be. And that's the name of the game, bro. So Airbnb isn't dead. It's just evolved. And if businesses evolve, your methods and the tactics that you use have to evolve as well. It's not what it once was, where you could literally just get a house or apartment anywhere, rent it out legally or illegal, and make a bunch of money. It doesn't work like that anymore, unfortunately. So you got to stay focused on the main thing, which is identifying markets that have under-saturated crowds, but have very high upside for years to come. So keep that in mind, man. If you guys have any questions about the short-term rental space, about the Airbnb space, feel free to ask me in the comments. Reach out to me on social media. It's going to be right here on the screen. And most importantly, do your research, right? Like, utilize the internet, but don't get caught up in the hype. Actually learn the information, right? And if you need help, like I said, reach out. We will help you with the entire process of finding a property that will be profitable, right? We can't guarantee anything, of course, but we know exactly what numbers we're looking at to decide whether or not something should be worth what it's being sold for or what it's being rented for, and then whether or not it's actually worth it for us to invest into it and make money on top of it, if there's even the opportunity to make money on top of it. So again, we will help you with the entire process, and most importantly, get you rolling, make sure all your operations are straight and things of that nature, so you don't have to worry about getting kicked off the platform. You don't have to worry about losing money on a bad property because you thought it was going to do well and it didn't do well. So a lot of things that we do for our clients and our students that help them fast track the entire process of getting a property up and running, but most importantly, getting a property up and running and having it profiting for a very long time consistently, right? That's where the hard work comes in. That's where the hard part comes in, and we help with that. And it's very cool because, again, we have hundreds of people that we worked with that have already seen a return on their investment, most importantly, but have also seen that they're in situations and they're in areas where they will have long-term sustainability and long-term growth as the years go on. So they're in a very good position. So again, if you need help, if you're looking into this space, feel free to reach out to me. I'm super glad to help. I'm always happy to help, and I'm ready to go. So I'm here in your corner. Hope you guys got value from this. My Instagrams, my socials are going to be in the comments, in the description. Go ahead, drop a like, comment, subscribe. If you do, I'm greatly appreciative of it. I'm so happy for all the support that comes in the way. Even if it's 1 or 2 people, it doesn't matter to me. My goal is to help you guys learn information that could change your situation in due time. So keep doing your thing, man. Keep grinding. Do what you got to do. Most importantly, I'll catch y'all in the next video.